Lucy.
Alright, let's get into this ice cave base design. This video is going to be sped up at certain points just to fit the whole base in a reasonable time frame. You generally want to start off with your two cliff plats left and right of where the death wall is going to be. This is for your velos and for your spiders. We'll put them on right at the end, don't worry about them now. We'll start off with the middle wall. You want 5 pillars wide, just a normal simple death wall.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light.
Alright, so this exact design we're going to copy on the right side of the wall. I'll show you half of it, how to use the pillars as snap points first, and then we'll cut back to once it's all done. So use the pillars and ceilings just to do a straight line, that's all you need to do. And then when we cut back, you need to take all the pillars right to the ceiling and stretch the ceilings along wherever you want the hatch frames. Alright, I'm going to cut back once it's all done. We're going to work on the spam in the water. This is what your wall should generally look like right at the end once everything's been added. We're going to go work on the cliff platform, the TP, to go right behind this death wall now. To begin with, you want to snap foundations under the water, go 1 pillar up and snap ceilings all along the top so it's nice and flat so you can put a TP down. We're going to come back once this is all done and we're going to work on the cliff platform. As you can see, we've already placed the TP down. Now to work on the cliff platform, this is the generic design we're going to be using throughout the cave, so in future if I ever refer to this, just come back to this part of the video and just copy the same design. As you can see, we put the pillar to the left side and snap the foundation to the right, pick up the pillar and snap the foundation to the left, nice and easy. This gives the cliff platform a little bit of protection when people are trying to attack it. What you want to do is put the pillars within the foundations and just bring them down. As you can see, this is with all the turrets on, finally completed, and this is the design you're going to look for. We're now going to look at the second death wall and the small entrance. This is a very basic death wall design, just in case people come this way. That's all it is. Okay, so what you want to do is actually use pillars to go up, and then we're going to stretch ceilings across, hatch frames, turrets. I'm going to cut back once it's all done. This is what your final design should look like with the spam, turrets and everything you'll need. When we're looking at the second death wall, this is again a very simple death wall design. Just use the pillars and the ceilings to map out where the wall will be. Put the pillars all the way to the ceilings. Put your ceilings and put your hatch frames and turrets. The only difference with this one is that there's a cliff platform. This is the very basic cliff platform design that I'm using, that I said at the start of the video, so go back if you need to. I'm going to come back once this is all done. I'm going to take a look at what it looks like. This is what your final design should look like. I used the metal fence supports to go all the way to the ceiling just to block tames coming in. I put a TP in the back and leveled this back area out so if we can put tames in to breed if we need to. This is a greenhouse death wall, so you put the cliff plat up high, you put the foundations on the cliff plat, put the pillar in that and bring the pillar all the way down to the ground. You then attach ceilings, hatch frames and put turrets on the hatch frames. Make sure you put some on the ground as well. I'm going to cut back once all the turrets are on and we'll start with some of the spam. As you see, all the turrets are on, so I'm going to go with spam. I'm going to use fence supports, bear traps, fence foundations and flexi cables. I'm going to cut back once all this is done so you get an idea of what it looks like right at the end. So this is the final product of what it should look like at the end, just a little death wall to keep people at bay. Okay, so this is the breeding area death wall. We're going to map this out with foundations just like all the previous ones we've done. Then going to place pillars, one in each foundation, just like all the previous death walls we've built. We're then going to use it to stretch out the right side of the death wall there, just where we got them ceilings. We're then going to extend all these pillars to the ceilings, just like previous death walls, add the ceilings and hatch frames, except we're going to vault drop this one twice. We're going to cut back to see what it looks like right at the end. So this is what your wall should look like. As you can see, I've added a door there, just on the metal fence foundation. This leaves a tiny gap in the middle which a person can access. You just want to add a bunch of spam and turrets to the death wall. I'm going to cut back to see what that looks like at the end. This is the final idea of what the death wall should look like. You can add all different things like jump pads, etc. This is what the general breeding area looks like. The cliff plat, just the same as one from the start, put it up high just to give a bit more protection. This whole breeding area is nice and flat because this is based upon the pillars and the ceilings beneath, just layered so it makes a nice flat surface up top. This is the green cliff plat. This is just before the crafting area. It's the same one as we did right in the beginning, except all we've done, we've extended the pillars all the way to the ground. I'm just going to add some turrets here, add some spam. I'm going to cut back to what it looks like at the end. As you can see, just adding a bit of green paint here. But this is generally what your death wall should look like, with just a little bit of spam on the outside. This is just to hold people off if they've gotten this far in the cave. Okay, we're just going to move on to the crafting area. All I did was layer out all the water in here, and we're going up 2 stories just so we can place a TP, as you can't place a TP on the ground. We're now going to cut back to once the TP is done and all this has been layered. This is your general design of what it should look like. You can see the TP up top. Now we're going to start placing the industrial forges. So you want to go along the bottom with pillars and then put ceilings on top. We're just going to place this last industrial forge here. We're going to add a couple reps, add some more forges, and then add some Dedi box just under the forges just to store the metal. So this is typically what your crafting area will look like. So we're just going to add some defense just above the TP with a cliff plat. As you can see here, same cliff plat just from the beginning, same design, put some turrets up and put a 1x1 with some hatch frames on it. This is just a bit of extra defense just for your crafting area. We move to the final area, which is just a bit of a storage area and a wall room. You're going to start by placing the foundations, using the ceilings and pillars just to go into the water, just to create a nice flat surface over the water. We're just going to cut back once all that's done. As you can see, we've got a nice flat area there. Now it's time to put your walls up. I use large walls just for time's sake. You want to go around all these walls, we're going to cut back once all that's done. You can see we've got all our walls there. We're just going to place some dino gates just as doors. Placed it from the inside because it's just a lot easier to place from the inside. And then we're going to level out the ceilings on top just so we can get an idea of a nice flat area just for our storage area. I'm going to cut back once all this is done, and then we're going to work on the stairs just to connect this floor to the top area. You can see just extended out 2 ceilings and just put some stairs down. Now we're going to go level out the wall room right at the bottom, and we're going to come back to once we're just putting vaults in the wall room. You can see just finishing off layering the vaults. This is just in the wall room beneath that we created a separate floor for. On the top floor, you just want to make a bunch of 2x2s in a 3x3 formation. Sealing off the middle one, as this is where we're going to put the transmitter, and we're going to put the cryo fridges just around the edges. Just placing the ladder. This is used to generally center ourselves. The cryo fridges in these boxes is generally by a 5x5, so as soon as it turns green just snap it in. We're going to cut back to once all these are done, and we're going to work on the vaults around the edges. So again, we're going to use the ladder to center ourselves. We're going to place the vaults at the back of the ceiling, and we're going to go along in a line with this. Add the layer on top, all we do is add a level of the ceiling right above it, place the vaults on top and just delete them ceilings and they fall right on top. So we're going to cut back to once these vaults have been double stacked to see what the final product should look like. This is generally what it should look like. As you can see, I've added a few Dedi boxes just going around the transmitter, added some triangle foundations upon the walls just to place a bunch of turrets, and as you can see I've double stacked the vaults all the way around. I've added a few tech beds and added some fridges. This has been the Island Ice Cave base tutorial. Thank you very much for watching.